Good afternoon. I'd first like to bring you greetings on behalf of our president, Dr. Paul Jones. We also have in attendance our athletic director, Dr. Renee Miles Payne, and the commissioner of the SIAC, Dr. Anthony Holloman. And I just want to make sure that we correct everybody so they'll know we don't like to be referred to as the SIAC. It's the SIAC, just so we understand that. Okay. But we're excited to be here. This is a tremendous opportunity for our university. The exposure that we're going to be able to get from this game is limitless. We also have the opportunity to serve as an inspiration to some of the kids in the community, to show them that they have an opportunity to play in a bowl game at a HBCU, specifically at a Division II HBCU. We also have a chance to increase our resources at both schools. All the exposure that we're getting is giving us an opportunity to solicit some donors and to bring in money to our program so that we can provide the resources that we need to play at the level that we want to get to. Again, we're excited about this opportunity. Can't wait to go out and compete against a great opponent in Johnson C. Smith from the CIAA. They're a well-coached football team. They play hard. They've got a tremendous defense. We're excited about going out and getting to play at 7:30 tomorrow.
Thank you, Coach Gibbs. I also want to say that Coach Gibbs and I, we attend the same barber. All right, Coach. Now, we're going to open up questions from you, the media. And we have our good friend, Mr. Ken Lee, who has a microphone. So what we'd like you to do is please raise your hand, wait to be acknowledged. Mr. Ken Lee will bring you a microphone. Please state your name and your affiliation before asking your question. We are now open for questions. Our first question.
Wally Pitt, HBCUGameday. What's going on, Coach?
Talk
to us a little bit about, we don't have a lot of recent history of these post-game CIAA, SIAC, but, you go way back in HBCU. Talk about just the relevance of the CIAA playing the SIAC in the postseason and any memories you might have had from during your playing days where you might have been in that atmosphere as well.
Well, unfortunately for us, during my playing days, we weren't good enough to play in the postseason. But the CIAA and the SIAC used to play in the Pioneer Bowl. Fort Valley State has actually participated in the Pioneer Bowl before. This is the second bowl game that we've participated in as a university. Our first one we played against St. Aug, and it didn't turn out in our favor. But this is a great thing. It's the Division II version of the Celebration Bowl. The SWAC versus the MEAC. Well, this is our version of that, the CIAA versus the SIAC. And, we're excited about playing in it and to play against a quality opponent like Johnson C. Smith. Like we said, we both have identical records, so it's a race to 8 for both schools. So, we're excited about playing in it. It's a tremendous opportunity, and we can't wait.
Next question.
Thank you. Noonie Robinson with the West Side Gazette in Fort Lauderdale.
How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. Who are some of your outstanding players that you depend on to help you win this game tomorrow?
Well, there's a whole bunch of them. For us, offensively, it starts with the quarterback, and that's on any team. Our quarterback, Kelvin Durham, is a South Florida native. He's from Homestead. It starts with him. Last year, in 2022, he was the SIAC Newcomer of the Year and Freshman of the Year and First Team All-Conference. This year, statistically, he didn't have the season that he wanted, but a lot of that was due to some injuries. Now he's back healthy, so we're excited about KD is what we call him, Kelvin Durham. Staying on the offensive side of the ball, running back Brandon Marshall. He's transferred from Mercer, graduate transfer. He was First Team All-Conference, and he received Newcomer of the Year this year. Brandon's played a big role for us, not only on the field but off the field. He's a mature kid that really knows how to handle his business. Up front, Jameel Jackson is our leader on the offensive line. He was voted First Team All-SIAC, and he's done a good job for us. But we have some other veteran offensive linemen up there, Waylon Bell, who just graduated, Rio Clater, who's another grad transfer from North Carolina A&T. In the receiving corps, we're led by Corinthians Edmonds, who's going to participate in the Legacy Bowl the HBCU All-Star game. Rent was a first-team all-conference player for us in 22. This year, the stats were down a little bit, but he's done everything we've asked of him. Fraylon Warren is another guy on the offensive side of the ball we have who's from South Florida that's played a big role for us. Gentry Sparks at tight end. So there's a number of guys. We don't really rely on one person to win for us offensively. We play a team game, and, our quarterback, we're just asking him to be a facilitator, get the ball to our playmakers in space, and allow them to make plays. On the defensive side of the ball, I personally think our defensive line is pretty good. We didn't have a lot of postseason accolades as far as all conference recognition, but we're led by Tim Alderman, number 5. He's a native of Peach County, which is our local high school, and that's a theme throughout our defensive line. Not only do we have Tim, we have Cedric Hillsman from Peach County. We have Quintel Jones from Peach County. And then we have a couple other local guys with Caleb Thomas and DJ Wilson, both from Warner Robins, Georgia, that have done a great job for us this year. At the linebacker position, Malik Harp was voted all-conference. He was a kid that came to us as a walk-on. Last year at the start of the season, he was on the sideline with a red hat doing signals, okay? And he worked his butt off into a all-conference performer, and he's also a Florida native. He's from Ocoee. He says Orlando, but I tell him that's where my in-laws live, so I know Ocoee and Orlando are different places. But he's been a really good player for us at the linebacker position, and then in the secondary, we're kind of young, but I would say the people that have stood out the most for us would be Kamari Blankumsey, a true freshman from Brooks County in Georgia. He was all conference, and he's a tremendous player for us. And Damon Polite, our free safety, and Darnell Stevens, who started at free safety but moved to corner for us later in the season. And I don't want to leave out our specialists because a lot of times they go unnoticed. But Daniel Gibbs has done a tremendous job for us in the place kicking and handling kickoffs. And Christian Ector is our long snapper. And I think it's a good thing that people don't know his name because that means he hadn't messed up all year. And Elon has done a great job for us at punting. So, we don't rely on one person on either side of the ball to carry us. I think we have a lot of good players. And when we play as a team, we're something else.
Next question.
How you doing, Coach Gibbs? Scotty Offscript and media partner Urban Edge Network. You talked about the resources. How, with college football being the way it is with the NIL's transfer portal, how is it important in recruiting-wise to tell recruits, hey, you have an opportunity to play at a bowl game at a Division II level and get kids to come to the program?
A great question. Well, that's extremely important. Not many opportunities are provided for Division II institutions to play in a bowl game. And, what recruits need to realize is something we're doing right now. We're one of 4 HBCUs that's still playing football. Everybody else is at home watching this game and then the game this weekend. So just the exposure and the opportunity to get in front of these kids and play, and then we can explain to them, how many eyes are on us, and then, that can help us acquire the resources that we need so we can continue to build, because that's what it's about. We're just trying to build. We're in the beginning stages of this program. The best is yet to come, and this is the first step in the right direction, though. This is definitely going to give us some much-needed exposure.
Next question. We've allotted about 12 to 15 minutes per coach because we know the coaches are very busy. So, again, we have another 5 to 6 minutes remaining. Next question. Don't let the coach off easy.
Jordan Hall, Purple Glass Media. Coach, how do you think the experience has rubbed off to the kids that are not Florida natives that to get to experience one of the greatest cities in the world?
Well, if you would have seen all the kids' eyes when we walked into the stadium for the walkthrough this morning, it's something that they don't get a chance to experience. Playing a beautiful stadium like this, in front of their friends and family, the guys from Florida and the guys that's not, their family will be able to watch it on TV. So anytime you have a chance to play on TV and play in a big-time stadium like this, it's an experience that they'll never forget. And I can tell that already. They're excited. They're ready to go.
Excellent, Coach. One more? No? Maybe? Okay.
Coach Gibbs, you told me at Media Day, Emmanuel Wilson, as much of an impact as he was, you didn't believe in having one player being everything. How throughout the season has your team grown to be more impactful around the ball and offensively not focused just on one guy, Kelvin stepping up, as you said, running backs and wide receivers as well?
Right. Well, you can't replace a guy like Emmanuel Wilson. He's currently with the Green Bay Packers. And, Coach Flowers had a lot to do with that. He recruited him at Johnson C. Smith and then brought him down to Fort Valley. And I just had the privilege to coach him, his last year. But you can't replace anybody like that. So we knew, well, let me say this. It'd be very hard to replace somebody like that, okay, at our level. So we knew that we had to try to do it collectively in the backfield going into the season. But fortunately for us, Brandon Marshall came in and kind of separated himself probably about the third or fourth game of the year, and he kind of took over the role. But we still have some guys behind him, Kentrell Williams that can come in and contribute and some young freshmen that are excited about the opportunity. But offensively, we just not even offensively as a team, we want to play as a team. We don't want one guy carrying us, because when you play like that and something happens to that one person, where do you go from there? So it's a next man up mentality. The expectation for the number one guy is the same as it is for the number 22 guy. When you're on the field, we're expecting you to perform at our level and meet our standard. So that's kind of the mentality we've had all season. It's worked pretty good until this point, and we're going to keep building on that.
Thank you very much. I'd like to say thank you for everyone being here first off, and I'd like to recognize our esteemed president, Dr. Valerie Kinlock, a tremendous leader. I'd like to recognize the commissioner of the CIAA, Dr. McWilliams, who does an outstanding job of leadership and promoting our conference throughout the country. I'd like to recognize our athletic director, Mr. Steve Joyner, Coach Steve Joyner. Coach Joyner is also our head basketball coach and approaching 600 wins, some history there. And I'd like to just thank all Golden Bull fans. And it's a tremendous honor to represent Johnson C. Smith University in this first annual Florida Beach Bowl, and also to represent the CIAA conference, the oldest HBCU conference. Has a long history of great football and athletics overall.
Thank you so much, Coach. Again, now we'll open it up to questions. And again, please raise your hand. Wait to be acknowledged. Mr. Ken Lee will come with a microphone. Please, again, state your name, your affiliation, and then ask your question. Questions are now open for Coach Flowers.
Larry Mims, WPG Radio Charlotte. Coach Flowers, this is not only a big moment for John C. Smith, but it's a big moment for HBCUs. It's a two-part question. Have you had a chance to take this moment in, and what has been your message to your kids for this moment in time and this moment?
Well, the first part of the question, have I had a moment to take this in? Not yet. But what I do know is that this is an extreme just accomplishment for our football team and for our university and for our young men. They've really worked hard and earned the right to be here. And I'm just so proud that they can say they've been to a bowl. This is just a first-class event. And so I have not had a chance yet, but I'm sure I will when we're done, because it's really been about the work and preparation. This is a great event. I know our young men are excited, and I'm excited for our university. I'm excited for everyone in our university, the band, the cheerleaders, the admissions team. There's so many folks from our university that have a hand in this bowl. Athletic administration, everyone. This was a group effort, and I'm just so glad that our university just shows what we're all about at Johnson C. Smith, which is teamwork. And that's what it took to prepare for this event. And we're just glad to be the football team and be what the main focus is about, but this is definitely team. And the second part of the question, I'm sorry, Mr.
What's your message to your kids this week about this moment?
Our message was keep the main thing the main thing. the main thing. That's our message. When you have an opportunity to play, and this is a real bowl with come down a few days before, and young men get a chance to take in different events in the city and all of those things, there's a chance of distractions. And it's almost like, homecoming, when you have homecoming and alums come back, but this is like a homecoming times 10. And so our message has been keep the main thing, which is the football game. And so we want to make sure that we're focused on the game and ready to go out and play our best game of the season. So keeping the main thing is our focus, but at the same time, enjoying some of the events.
Next question.
Aurelia Washington, Sports Information Director, John C. Smith University. Coach, everyone always talks about offense and defense, but what people don't know, special teams, you're the leading in the Division II conference and punt returns. Kind of talk about your special teams.
Wow. Well, it's just a part of what we believe in. We call it complementary football. Complementary football is offense, defense, and special teams. And when you look at our special teams, I'm still trying to figure out how our freshman kicker, Alejandro, didn't receive some awards, but he missed one kick all season, and he's a freshman. But we put a lot of time into our special teams. We have an outstanding special teams coordinator in James Lawton. We have a lot of coaches that help there, but it's just a part. It just shows some of the depth that we have as a team. We have starters that play on special teams. We have guys that are fighting for starting positions that play special teams. And so our punt return unit is number one in the CIAA, and I believe one or two in the country, but they just goes hand in hand with our defense. And so that's what we mean by complementary football. Kickoff return, it's not just the returners, but we have some guys that can run on the front line also. Just all of our special teams, there's a competition there amongst all of them about who's going to help the team the most. And so we call on them. There's an expectation for them to play well, and there's an expectation to play hard and prepare just the way that the offense and defense does. But they have a big part of what we do, and the biggest thing is that we put a lot of time into the special teams. And so if you put a lot of time into something, you expect to see the results, and we've been seeing them thus far in the season.
Good afternoon. Noonie Robinson again, Westside Gazette. I just wanted you to highlight some of your players that you expect to help you win the game tomorrow. Some of your better players.
Well, he said we only had a few minutes, so no. I'll start with our defense. Our defense is currently ranked the number one defense in Division II. You heard Coach Gibbs allude to them earlier, and we'll start with our Florida guy, Jack Smith, second team all CIAA, middle linebacker. Jack transferred to us from Purdue University, outstanding football player and young man, played at Lakeland. He's a dreadnought. And then we have to go with the linebacker beside him, a Charlotte native, Benari Black. Benari's number 3, leading tackler in the CIAA and first team all CIAA, outstanding player. Defensive line, we play 12. We rotate 12. You heard Coach Gibbs talk about his defensive line is pretty good. They are very good. And our defensive line, we have 6 D tackles that rotate and 6 defensive ends that rotate. And so they fight for playing time, but that's where a team is built. You have to stop the run and to win. And that's where we look to get good immediately when we took over the program. And the secondary, we're led by a senior Charlotte native also, Jacoby Clement, and long, can run, and he's the leader of that group along with another Charlotte native, Dirk Curitin, number 1. Dirk Curitin's the leading punt returner in the CIAA in the conference, but he's also outstanding defensive back. And so and then with us, one of our safeties, TJ Tabron. When I think of TJ, the first thing I think about is his academics. The young man's a 3.9 student and a sophomore, and he's the quarterback of the defense as a young man. And those are some of our defensive standouts. Special teams, I've mentioned our kicker, Alejandro, outstanding job, but also I have to mention our long snapper, James Lyons from Seabreeze High School here in Florida. And then we have to talk about our returners. Our returners do an outstanding job. Blake McCullough, another Florida native. And then I'll jump now to the offensive side. We've got a number. I'm a former quarterback, and I want to throw the ball 40 to 50 times a game. I do want to throw it, but we're playing complementary football. Our starting quarterback, Tyrell Jackson, he transferred with us from Fort Valley State. He was injured. He's been injured both our years here. So he went out game 2, and we've been with our young quarterbacks. And so when you have your young quarterbacks, you run your offense a little differently. So we've started 3 quarterbacks that have won games for us this season. And so we don't even know who's going to start tomorrow yet. But number 7, Robert Adams is a true sophomore. Then we have freshman Jameer Cherry from Mooresville, North Carolina. And Jameer started against, our 2 biggest rivals. He led us to the win against Winston-Salem State, and he led us to the win over our rival, Livingstone College. And while I have a moment there, I'd like to go ahead and say a plug that it's an honor to be in this game because we are one of the first teams here. And also to let everybody know, if you did not know, I have a shirt on right now, and it says it's where it all started. And Johnson C. Smith University and Livingstone were the first 2 black colleges to play a football game. And so we're the first here also. So tremendous honor.
Coach Wally Pitt, HBCU Game Day. Talk about you're in your second year. You know a lot about Smith. You're an alum. Just what's it mean for the building of this program, for y'all to come to a bowl game like this? What's it mean for the guys who were here, and what's it mean for the guys who are coming, and what's it just mean for Smith as a university?
I'll start with what it means for Smith. What it means for Smith is it's our president has a saying, a new era of excellence in JCSU. And so that's really what you're getting right now. It's a new era of excellence. Our first year we were 2-7, but we don't say we were rebuilding. We were building a program, and that was part of the building process, our process. And our process was we're going to recruit high school young men. We recruited 53 freshmen. We were 2-7 our first year, and lost 6 games by 1 score, all decided within the last minute of the game. So what it meant was we were close. It also meant that we were building character. We didn't like to say that we lost. We had a saying that you lose or you learn. And we like to say we learned a lot that first year. So we turned things around. Those losses became wins this year. But we feel like we're just getting started with building a championship program. That's the goal. We want to build a championship program that's going to compete for the CIAA championship every year. We want to win the CIAA championship. We want to go to the Division II playoff. We want to go to the Florida Beach Bowl. How about that? Okay? We want to go to the Florida Beach Bowl. And we want to be national champion. So those are our goals. And so we have had that goal since day one. And we had to lean on what our goals were in our culture because they didn't. When you're 2-7, it's tough to say, hey, we're going to be a championship team. But our young men have bought in every day. And how we start everything about our program and building, it was through academics. Our academics is if you have a team that's serious about their academics, they're going to be serious about everything else. And so that's where we knew that we were going to start. And so our study hall, our young men, it's good to watch them in study hall because that's how they're going to be in meetings. And so what you're seeing is really just a total buy-in by the program. Yes, sir.
I wasn't going to ask, but I'm Valerie Kemlock, president of Johnson C. Smith University. I was going to sit here quietly, but I have to ask you, Coach Flowers, the comment that you just offered about academics. I wanted to know, and if you can tell people what your philosophy is on building a program for our football team, but also thinking about the connections between having academic scholars who are athletes, and why is that so important for your philosophy?
Well, why it's so important is that well, first, our goal for a team is 3.0 GPA. And I'd like to say that we're very close. We're at a 2.8 right now for 110 young men. And why is it so important is that our young men, we know the statistics and how hard it is to make it to the next level, meaning the NFL or professionals. And so what we like to do is we like to say that we're helping train our young men for the real world. And how do you train them for the real world is that you have to let them know immediately that your education is what's going to get you to the next level. And it comes with having good study habits. And study habits, we learn so many different ways. And so helping our young men earn and learn study habits is in study hall. And that's how we build them. And it's something that you have to do regardless of your GPA in high school where you're a 4.0 student. All first-year students for us and transfer students have mandatory study hall in season and out of season. And so for us, the building of each of our athletes academically, that really is our microscope into who they are as a football player. And if we watch them academically and we see their academics, that's going to let us know how consistent they are with football. And with anything in life, you have to be consistent. And if you're consistent with your academics, consistent with the small things that you're asked to do off the field, you're going to be good on the football field. So we just knew that once we are, and it really is, it's been sort of this plan wherever we've been. But when we came to JCSU, we know that we didn't have a long history to lean on with winning football. But if we win academics, then those are the wins that are going to lead to the wins on the football field. And that's where we lean.
Thank you so much, Coach. Again, we know that you have a busy schedule, and thank you for taking time out of that busy schedule to join us today. Before we conclude, I'd like to thank Coach Flowers. You have a question? We can't stop him from asking a question.
Victor Robinson from Florida Beach Bowl. Coach, what has been your experience so far? Well, what would you tell people about the Florida Beach Bowl? Because I want people to understand the experience. For me, I'm big on experience. Like when I told people we're building this bowl game, people who's not here, maybe to think about coming next year, what would you tell them?
I would say that this experience is a first-class experience. This experience is going to be something that is with them for the rest of their life. We had 20 young men that have never flown before. Okay, there's an experience. Some of our young men have never been to Florida before. We have young men from Florida that we have two of our players, Shawn Evans and Stenny Joseph. Their parents have never seen them play a college football game. So we're answering dreams. That's what this is about. The same thing that the FBS schools get. Wisconsin, Florida, states, all of those schools, they get a chance to go to a bowl. It's possible now for Division II, HBCUs, and not just HBCUs. Our staff, we've been out recruiting. I'm running into coaches from PWI schools. They said they've reached out to try to get into the bowls. They want a Division II bowl. So it's something that is so big for the young men because not everyone goes to the playoffs. And then you look at the Celebration Bowl and what it does. That's a better alternative than the playoffs. This here's a better alternative than the playoffs. As Coach Gibbs said, there's 4 teams playing right now, 4 HBCU teams playing right now. We're one of them. And I'm very proud of that. And as you look at both conferences, the SIAC and the CIAA, the SIAC champion, wonderful year. And now, but look at the last 2 that are right now playing as a CIAA school and a SIAC school. And we're looking forward to this matchup. And in this bowl, it's going to be the last one the Division II team is playing. And so it just has so many eyes, and the experience is just going to help with recruiting for both schools. And there's no negatives.